Monday, January 19th, 2026, began as a typical winter day in West Michigan. The sun rose over quiet, snow-blanketed neighborhoods, and residents bundled up for their morning routines, unaware of the chaos about to unfold just a few miles away. On Interstate 196, just outside Grand Rapids, a massive and unprecedented pileup was about to bring the region to a standstill. In a matter of minutes, over 100 vehicles, ranging from small sedans to 18-wheelers, became entangled in a devastating chain reaction that stretched for miles along the icy highway. The interstate was transformed into a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered glass, with traffic frozen in place as far as the eye could see. Ottawa County, a region accustomed to heavy lake-effect snow, was caught completely off guard by the storm's sudden ferocity. The blizzard intensified rapidly, overwhelming even the most seasoned Michigan drivers. Emergency services rushed to the scene, facing a daunting and dangerous challenge. Dozens of drivers were trapped in their vehicles, some injured and unable to escape, while snow continued to fall relentlessly and wreckage littered the roadway. Visibility had dropped to near zero. The road transformed into a slick sheet of ice. One car lost control, then another, and another, as the blizzard created a terrifying domino effect that no one could stop. The deafening sounds of crunching metal and shattering glass soon faded, replaced by an eerie, unsettling silence that hung over the scene. Michigan State Police acted swiftly, shutting down both directions of the interstate and sealing off the disaster zone to prevent further tragedy. Massive traffic backups quickly formed as authorities rerouted stunned and anxious drivers, many of whom were stranded for hours in the freezing cold. What began as a routine morning commute had suddenly become a large-scale emergency. The true scope of the disaster was only beginning to emerge, as first responders worked tirelessly to reach those in need. As the sun struggled to break through the storm clouds, first responders braced themselves for a long, harrowing day ahead, knowing that every minute could mean the difference between life and death. Catastrophic pileups often start with a single moment of lost control, a split second that changes everything. On a winter highway, even the most experienced drivers can be caught off guard. On I-196, one vehicle hit black ice hidden beneath a fresh layer of snow and spun out of control, its tires unable to grip the invisible danger beneath. In normal weather, it might have been a minor accident, a fender bender, a shaken driver, but in a blinding snow squall, with visibility dropping to just a few feet, that single spin-out triggered a disaster that would escalate in seconds. Drivers behind had only milliseconds to react. With the road vanishing into a whiteout, they slammed on their brakes, but the icy surface offered no traction. Cars and trucks skidded helplessly, colliding with the growing wreckage ahead. Passenger cars, SUVs, and massive semi-trucks all became entangled in the chaos, metal crunching against metal as the pileup expanded. Jackknifed semis blocked every lane, trapping smaller vehicles between their trailers and the snowbanks, making escape impossible and compounding the confusion. For those involved, it was a blur of confusion and fear. One moment driving cautiously, the next, part of a disaster unfolding all around them. Horns blared, glass shattered, and the world outside disappeared into swirling snow. Some saw only a wall of white before impact. Others glimpsed brake lights vanishing into the storm, realizing too late that they were heading straight into danger. The pileup grew exponentially, vehicle after vehicle joining the wreckage, each new arrival adding to the chaos and confusion. In just a matter of minutes, over 100 cars and trucks were ensnared. The interstate, once a busy artery of travel, was transformed into a scene of utter chaos and destruction. The chain reaction was unstoppable, fueled by a deadly mix of weather, speed, and human error. Each crash set off another, a domino effect impossible to halt. It was a perfect storm of conditions, blinding snow, slick roads, and panic that no one could escape, leaving hundreds stranded and emergency crews scrambling to respond. The weather was the true culprit. The weather was the true culprit. The weather was the true culprit. A powerful lake-effect snowstorm swept across West Michigan, dumping snow at 1 to 2 inches per hour. Whiteout conditions struck with little warning. Drivers couldn't see more than a car length ahead. The sky, ground, and air blended into a blinding curtain of white, stripping away visibility. Temperatures plunged, turning the road into a sheet of invisible black ice. Drivers thought they were on wet pavement, but had almost no traction. Interstate 196, running parallel to Lake Michigan, was especially vulnerable to these sudden squalls. Even experienced winter drivers were caught off guard. The relentless storm hampered both rescue and cleanup, as emergency crews battled the same blizzard that caused the disaster. Nature had set the perfect trap, and hundreds of drivers were caught in it. In a whiteout, reaction time vanishes. The first crashes blocked the highway, and following vehicles emerged from the snow into a wall of wreckage. Panic set in. Some drivers slammed brakes and skidded, others swerved blindly, all with disastrous results. The sounds of metal crunching and glass shattering echoed through the storm. Semi-trucks, unable to stop, plowed into the pile, compounding the destruction. The chain reaction continued until traffic finally halted far enough back to avoid joining the chaos. What remained was devastation. Cars wedged under trucks, belongings scattered across the snow. The highway was transformed into a silent, frozen junkyard. Emergency calls poured in from every direction, and first responders raced to the scene through blinding snow and gridlocked traffic, their sirens barely audible over the howling wind. Each minute felt like an eternity as they pushed forward, knowing that lives hung in the balance. Their first challenge was simply reaching the victims. Snowdrifts blocked roads, and abandoned vehicles created a maze, forcing rescuers to leave their trucks behind and continue on foot, carrying heavy gear through knee-deep snow. Upon arrival, they faced a daunting task, dozens injured, many trapped in mangled vehicles. The scene was chaotic, with twisted metal and cries for help echoing through the storm. Paramedics triaged patients in the snow, working quickly to assess injuries and prioritize care, while firefighters used hydraulic tools to free the trapped, their hands numb from the cold. The cold was a deadly threat. Hypothermia loomed for both victims and rescuers. Every second exposed to the elements increased the risk, making the rescue even more urgent. Authorities brought in city buses as mobile warming shelters, saving lives by getting people out of the cold. These makeshift havens offered a brief respite, allowing victims and responders to regroup and warm up before returning to the chaos. Coordination was key. Police, fire, and EMS worked together, relaying information and managing resources. Every agency played a vital role, from directing traffic to organizing medical evacuations. Communication about injuries, hazards, and evacuation progress was constant. Radios crackled with updates, ensuring that no one was left behind and that help reached those who needed it most. The professionalism and bravery of first responders shone through as they worked for hours in brutal conditions, refusing to give up despite exhaustion and freezing temperatures. Their tireless efforts prevented a bad situation from becoming a tragedy, offering hope and comfort to those caught in the storm. The rescue was a testament to teamwork and quick thinking, as every responder relied on each other to overcome the overwhelming odds. Every life saved was a victory against the storm, a reminder of the courage and determination that defines our first responders in the face of disaster. This disaster didn't come without warning. The National Weather Service had issued urgent alerts, forecasting dangerous lake-effect snow and whiteout conditions. Winter storm warnings advised residents to avoid travel and prepare for hazardous roads. Meteorologists used strong language, warning of sudden drops in visibility and life-threatening conditions. Despite widespread alerts on TV, radio, and social media, many drivers underestimated the risk. The pileup was a tragic reminder of why these warnings matter. Weather advisories are based on science and experience. They're meant to save lives. Heeding them can mean the difference between safety and disaster. As emergency crews worked through the wreckage, the human toll became clear. Dozens were injured, broken bones, concussions, and trauma from high-impact collisions. Paramedics and firefighters performed difficult rescues, extracting people from crushed vehicles. Hospitals activated mass casualty plans, bracing for a flood of patients. Yet, amid the destruction, a miracle emerged: no fatalities. Michigan State Police confirmed that everyone survived, despite the scale of the disaster. The community breathed a collective sigh of relief, grateful for the quick response and a stroke of luck. The story became one of survival against overwhelming odds. With the injured evacuated, the monumental cleanup began. Over 100 vehicles, many tangled together, had to be separated and towed away. Crews worked methodically, dealing with hazardous materials and documenting every vehicle. Jackknifed semis required specialized equipment to remove. Road crews followed, clearing snow, ice, and debris to make the highway safe again. It took nearly a full day before Interstate 196 reopened. The sight of traffic flowing again was a welcome relief, but scars on the pavement remained. The cleanup showcased the resilience and efficiency of those who keep our roads moving. The I-196 pileup is a stark lesson in winter driving dangers. The most important takeaway: respect nature and heed expert warnings. When a winter storm warning is issued, the safest choice is to stay home. If travel is unavoidable, prepare your vehicle. Good tires, a strong battery, and a winter survival kit are essential. Slow down, increase following distance, and avoid sudden movements. Be especially cautious on bridges and shaded areas, which freeze first. Always check the weather before leaving and be ready for rapid changes. If caught in a whiteout, pull over safely and wait for conditions to improve. By preparing, adjusting your driving, and making smart decisions, you can help prevent future tragedies. Winter roads demand respect. Your life may depend on it.